My name is Brandon Marker. I am the Speco Tech Product Manager for Access Control. I'll take you through our Access Control platform here today. First, I'm going to start off on our website here, speacotech.com. If you've not been here already, we have loads of information on here, not just with our access control, but our IP speakers, cameras, solar panel kits. We have all sorts of information products on here. But right off, as far as starting off with our access control, these are our two main formats. Right here's our single door controller. This fella here is very nice for scalability and just your one-off runs. If you have a door that's a couple of 100 feet away from all the rest of your stuff, instead of running all that door hardware wiring all the way back to a centralized point, you could actually have this out in the field. It's the size of a double gang box. Let me scroll down here and show this a little bit more so you get a little bit better picture of it here. There she is. So that right there, yes, it's about the size of a double gang box. So you can fit it into a small enclosure right above the door that you're providing access to, or you put it right above drop ceiling. It comes with a mounting bracket that will actually allow you to mount this right against the wall or against the back of an enclosed box, where your wiring harnesses will be sticking straight out there for you to just wire straight up to it. Makes it a super scalable product right there. But then let's take a look back over to, and this is our most popular model here, is our A2E4P. This is our two-door access control panel that is expandable up to 4 doors. Right there is pictured with that two-door controller right there, and you can add an expansion board right here to add an additional 2 doors to be inside that same canister right there. And then also, you can get it with just basic power that'll power just your controller and readers and everything with backup, or you can get it with the additional power package that will allow you for the additional power in 4 separate channels for locking power. Let me showcase that here for you. So that power module that comes on our A2E4P, you have 4 separate connectors there. Each individually can be 12 or 24 volts DC. And then we also have your fire cutoff switch right there. So for any type of fire shunts and everything, that will give you your egress for any mag locks or anything on the systems to release those. These also come with auto resetting fuses. So if you actually spike the fuse or put the have a cross in your circuitry, it'll just fire up red, show you that there's a short in the line. You fix it and it resets itself. So no harm, no foul with this right here. And let me go right into our right here, it is a web-based software. So the software is embedded on the access controller itself. So there is no additional software to download on any separate computer or separate server. All you need is just this one device if you're doing up to 4 doors. So you just go to the IP address that's assigned, and it automatically logged me in there, but I'll go ahead and log out here so you can show. It will actually land you right here. I'll increase the size of that a bit. You log in and you have it land right here on your dashboard, your main screen. Control this here. Let me pull this out a little bit more. And from here, you can see I have a floor map right here showcasing where all my doors are within my facility there. You see 4 of them are colored green, and that door number 5 is colored gray. That's because it's actually offline. I pulled it off the network, but it's still in the system. So it's looking like it's offline. So if you had a network issue or something like that, you'd be able to get an immediate notification showcasing that this door is offline right there. So if you're seeing green, that means you're good to go there as far as being online with those doors. Now, this is also live statusing. So if you had a door forced open event, let's say somebody opens the door without badging in, you can immediately get notification right there on your front screen. So this is great for any kind of manned post, like a security guard or a receptionist desk. This comes in very handy. Also on that point, if you have it connected to our NVRs, you can have it to where a video tag will automatically pop up for you. So when someone badges in, oh, actually, pardon, give me just one moment. I got to wire this thing back up where I had it unwired from a previous issue. Just one second here. I definitely want to showcase this to you all. All right, let's try that again. That looks more like it. Now, you see, that is our live view that pops up right there. So you didn't see me badge in quite right away because, of course, by the time I badged and stepped away, that live view is giving you the real-time live view. But if you wanted to see that 30-second clip, that's no problem. You actually come right down here. And that was the event right there where the door is unlocked. Click that video tag icon. It'll pull right back up. And you see me there now rewiring my keypad reader and then badging in right there. And then you'll see that red light indicating that door opening. And so it'll give you 10 seconds before the event video tags and then 20 seconds after. Clear off of that. And then, of course, also, you have it to where it will, the auto monitor will automatically pop up. And if you have a photo associated to that card holder, it'll show up right there for you. I'll tell you which door they came through, everything like that. And with that auto pop-up, that makes it great, again, for a manned station to where you can compare the photo on file with the person that just came through the door. So you can have an immediate action if needed. Also on this front page here, you see you have the event log here, of course. That is also fully customizable as far as what events show up on here, or if that looks just if you want it more concise, you can actually go into the settings here, and you can go into the event codes section within our settings. And here are all the event codes for the system. Now I'll do a quick scroll here. You can see it's pretty much everything you can think of there. And you see virtually all of them marked to be displayed on the dashboard. But if you want it, like I said, if you wanted to be a little bit more concise and not have all that information just immediately on the front screen or for your main station, essentially, if you want to be a little more concise for them, this is where you can do that. May notice here, this ACK column right here, this is the acknowledgement column. You can go through here and also choose items that you want to be required to be acknowledged. So I have marked here like access denied, door held open, and door forced open. Let me show you how that works here. You go to the back to the dashboard, and you see you have your acknowledgement tab over here. It looks like I have 4 things to acknowledge here. So that door held open I just did earlier. That way your person that's manning the station can actually click on that there and actually type in what happened, you know, delivery driver, or a delivery of something they needed to prop the door open for a couple of minutes, bringing things in and out, whatever the case may be. You save that and that rolls it off there, and now it's sitting there waiting to be pulled for reports. Also, let's say you had a multitude of a common issue that happens. Let's say you had 20 of these held opens or whatnot within the day. You want to come through and let's just go ahead and clear off all these. That's not a problem. You can click that button right on top there, the ACK, and then you can apply a message that you know all these are clear. And that can clear all of your acknowledgments there at once. Another thing you'll see right here on the dashboard here is that our threat level status is at a low. So there's many systems out there that don't have any type of threat level or lockdown process at all, but some of them do have a lockdown process to where if you choose the lockdown button, then everything is locked down. And there's no real in between. But with our platform here, you can actually specify different threat level statuses for card holders and also doors specifically. So if you wanted to change, let's say my credential is set at a low threat level. So if let's say something suspicious is happening, we got some strange vans in the parking lot, whatever the case may be, we can go up to, let's say, an elevated threat level. So now any credential or any door that is designated less than your current threat level status, those will be locked down. So whenever presented, when you try, of course, it will be denied because of a threat level violation there. And that'll make it to where you're going to have different tiered types of lockdowns or different levels. That way you have a way of safeguarding while not having to completely stop and lock down everything and put everybody on high alert for what may be a false alarm. So it's a nice in between, a lot of flexibility there. Let's change our threat level over here back to low. All right. Now, the next thing I like to showcase on these, well, actually, first I'm going to go through our card holders and access. So how to enroll someone. Under card holders, you see I have just a few here. And this here is where you can search by first name, last name, card, or we also have custom info. These are different customized user-defined fields. So let's say you had departments or different floors that people worked on, and you wanted to keep a record of that so that you can easily search later. That's what those custom fields are for. And so from right here, you simply click New User. And the only thing that's required is a last name to get that user just in the system first, because you have to save the user before adding any cards. But right here, you can see that we have the option to where if you want that person to have additional ADA timing or any exemption, what web user account, and like I was saying before, what threat level they are allowed. So you can save that right there. And now you're presented with the option to add credentials. And so from right here, you can, of course, if they have their own credential and you're just not sure if they're in the field and you're actually remotely managing this, you can actually come here and have it auto scan whichever door they're at. You can choose which door, come down here and hit card scan. And then that will be at their location. And then whenever you present, it'll populate. It'll give 30 seconds to allow that population. But this is where your card number would go. And then this is where you would select which card format, or if you have different facility codes, things like that. I'll show you that here in the next scene. But that's where you add those. Then, of course, on your access level, you can choose the individual levels themselves, or you can, of course, have access level groups. So let's just say always, for instance. You can have it never expired. You can have it activate on a certain date and expire on a certain date. So you can have just a 24-hour card if you want, or something to work just for a week or so. Not a problem. Save it there, and you can add up to 32 credentials per card holder. So they can have a couple of physical credentials, a Bluetooth credential, and then maybe a couple of PIN codes as well for a couple of keypads that are out on site. All that would be held right here. But now let me move you over to this here. That's all right. So as far as card formats, where I was telling you there, right here in our settings, you can go to our card format section. And so this is where you can actually put in your own new custom format, whatever facility code, if you have it starting and stopping, as far as your start facility codes and your number facility or your number codes and the total bit length, it can be fully customized. But let's say you just had some cards on site, you're doing a takeover of some old existing system, and you don't know exactly what cards they have. You just know their general proximity card, but you don't know the facility code, anything like that. That's not a problem. You can actually have it if you go back to the dashboard here. It can actually show you right here. Actually, let me delete this one out. I just realized. So in card formats, that way I can show you. That's the one we're about to re-add. So I'll remove it first as though we've not seen it before. So when I go to present that same card, it's going to tell you card format not defined. And it's in blue because that's a hyperlink. When you click on that, it'll actually take you right back to that card format settings page. But at the same time, it's going to open up the decoder and automatically fill in that information. So it read on the Wiegand, it saw 26 bits come through. Those are the exact bits. And it's already decoded that it can tell exactly where the facility code bits start, where the card number bits start. It knows what facility code and card number. All right off. Now all that's left to do is to add a name. I normally like to add the facility code in with the description of it. Make it a little bit easier whenever you're selecting. You add that there and you're good to go. Another great feature of this system here is our event actions. And I'm actually going to showcase that on another system here. Actually, I have it on that now. Never mind. On our event actions, right here, this is where you can set up your own automations of sorts. So you can come here and say, anytime, it could be all readers, but let's only read only the in reader 1 and in reader 2. Only on those two. Maybe those are my 2 front doors. If we get a lost card or an expired card, or somebody just coming in the wrong schedule, any of those happen, then you can insert your own action. You can have it to where it can trigger an auxiliary output. You can have it, of course, unlock a door for you, or go to a system action, which you can have it to where it can pop up a message to that dashboard for whoever you have at your man station there. You can have it, what I like to showcase in this one is like a send email. So you can have this being sent to your HR department saying, please talk to this person about their coming in at their scheduled time. Or, hey, their card is expired. They need to re-up their certifications before they can access this room again. All types of automations that you can have right there. Another thing you can automate here. So for instance, let's say not a reader, But let's say, going back to the lockdown use case scenario and the threat levels, let's say your main station there, you don't want to be relying on any kind of software being up and running or anything like that. You want to be able to press a physical button and have full lockdown immediately. Well, you can just tie one of your auxiliary inputs, let's say the auxiliary input 3. And if it's supervised, you can also have that auxiliary input trouble. But so your auxiliary input, and then your system right here can change your threat level from low all the way to severe. That way, anytime that button's pushed, that's getting locked down. A lot of different options, like I say, you can have with this here. You can also have it, of course, trigger a video recording from any of your NVRs that you have associated. Also, you can back up to SD card or FTP server by way of any of these actions. Lots of options here. And along with this, so if you're having it trigger an auxiliary output, one of the things about integrations is being able to have the auxiliary output either pulse or follow exactly what's going on to the auxiliary input, or maybe it needs to be on for a full 15 seconds before it releases. Well, that's where you can actually come down here to your device settings, and you can actually control these auxiliary outputs. So let's say that auxiliary 3, for instance, we were just messing with. You can actually come here and you can have it down from 1 second single pulse up to hours if it needs that much. Also, you can have it to where it's repeating. Let's say it needs 3 separate 1 second pulses for whatever reason may be. You can do that right here. It on for 1 second, off for 5 seconds, and repeat that 3 times if you need to. The elongated on, elongated off, or whatever the auxiliary input number 5 is doing, for instance. Whatever is coming into it, that's how auxiliary output 3 should function. So many different options and integrations that this type of refinement and customization can allow you to really kind of get into you can get into the weeds real easy with something like this as far as integrations between different platforms. Very flexible. On our NVRs, as far as how to bring that in, it's actually quite simple. We actually get to our NVR setting here. You see, I have 3 separate NVRs actually pulled in. A couple of these I actually don't basically have hooked up currently. But how this works is, all you have to do is key in the name, the local IP address of that NVR that you're accessing there, the Speco NVR, and of course the RSTP port and internal port, which should be those by default, and then your admin credentials. You hit save there. Then the access panel has the reference and credentials to go and pull the video from your NVR anytime it needs. And then once you have that set, you can come down here to your NVR channel. And then this is where you can actually associate which channel goes to which door. And you see I have a couple pages worth. So I have up to 28 with all my 3 NVRs combined. I have 28 separate channels. So here, and so you see here, like my door number 1, for instance, is on my channel 5 on my NVR here. That's what you saw earlier on that pop-up. And you can actually have it set to trigger those video taggings through these options here: access granted, access denied, door held open or forced open, held open. Auxiliary input, again, can come into play here. All sorts of options there. Now, as far as our door settings, I'll go ahead and pull these up here for you to see what different door settings we have here. So you come down here to edit. And this is where you can, this is all the door settings that you have here. If you have multiple floors, you can designate which floor is associated to. The reader functions, and plenty of reader functions can be either card, keypad. We actually have an option for card and keypad so that you can actually have a multi-factor PIN code and then present the card before access is given. Really nice feature there. Door contacts, and of course you can adjust your hold open time and the ADA exemption time for giving extra open time for ADA people. You have your request to exit, your door lock modes and door lock, unlock and extended unlock times. Of course, you can have your door status alarm habit. So if the door is being forced open, you can actually have it automatically trigger an output for a door forced open if you wanted that. Let's say you have it hooked up to an external speaker for a much louder type of alarm. That's possible here. You can even associate it to disarm a burglary alarm. So you may have noticed whenever I'll show that to you actually when I go to badge in again. But you can have this to where, as long as your burglary panel has the option for receiving an auxiliary input to trigger its disarming, then we can actually be the auxiliary output to trigger that burglary alarm disarm for you. This is where you also set your threat level differences for the door, and you can have it set to ignore request to exit. So if you have a motion detector on the inside that, maybe it has a 15-foot range of unlocking, and you don't want anybody accidentally unlocking that door just by walking by it. If you have a threat outside that you want to keep locked, that's where this comes in handy. You can actually ignore those requests to exits. Then, of course, your anti-passback, your first-person rule, manager rule, and your two-person rule. Let's get back up here. Now on getting this mobile, let's say you want to have this on your phone. Well, just to set that up, I'm going to actually share my phone screen here in a moment, but to show you the control panel side on how that sets up first, you click this link option right here. And by default, it'll come off, and all you have to do is click that. You can most likely leave that default port 9000 open right there. And then you're going to have your QR code that you can scan right there. And then this is telling you right here that it's reaching out to our server and reaching back all right. So from this point, give me a moment here, and I'm going to pull up join with my phone and share its screen. All right, now you should be able to see my screen here. So our Speco Access app, this is the administrative mobile app here. And so from right here, you can choose amongst multiple, of course, you can have multiple sites that you can dive into. But when you do,
Actually, sorry, let me show you how this sets up first. I just realized. So if you were to add a new site, you can add that name here. The connection will be linked. That device number will auto-populate here in a moment. And then what? Oh my. All right, so on the bottom there, you'll see search linked site. When you click that button, you come to this here and you can type in the device ID if you really wanted to, but you could also press that button to the right there, that QR button. And then from here, you scan that QR code that I just showed you on the control panel side. And then from right there, you hit apply, and then your device number will auto-populate. Then you just got to type in your username and password, give it a name, and hit save. And then there you go. Bob's your uncle. It's linked up. And then once you're linked up, you can pull up and you'll see your four main options here. Your event log, you can dive right into and scroll through here. You can even pull up events. You can see, oh, denied threat level action, what time that happened, video tag on the channel 5, we know that. And then you can even pull up that 30-second clip of what happened directly from the mobile app. Very handy stuff, especially for administrators that are on the go, not always sitting behind a desk, which more and more is a lot. Most of your clients, I assume. Here in your door section, you can get to see all your doors. You can see if they're currently locked or unlocked. Again, you go to your door number 1, you can lock, manually unlock, or momentary unlock. And just like with the events, you can actually click here and you can pull up the live view. So if someone pops up and says, hey, I need to get in, I left my card, it's like, well, let's just pull up and check, make sure everything's copacetic on that end before I just let this door open. And then you can do that from right there. When back up here, you can actually go, our third option here is your card holder. And so through right here, you can actually access pretty much all the information that's accessible from the web browser, as well as the image. You can add the image from here as well, add all this information, and you can add new cards. You can adjust what current credentials they have, what access level they have or don't have, and you can update it real time. So if you have cards on you, you could literally just be in the field or in the facility, assign the card, take a picture of the person you're enrolling, and literally enroll them all from your phone without even having to touch a computer. Very, very handy. And then, of course, on your threat level here, you can quickly, you see a situation out on site or through the cameras or whatever the case may be, you can right here trigger that threat level. Now, while I'm broadcasting from the phone here, I'd like to go ahead and showcase our Connect Bluetooth mobile credentials. This right here, I actually have 2 credentials you see on here. The one on front here is the Speco Technologies credential. So if I click on that, I can tap here to unlock. And then whenever I approach my keypad, credential read successfully, and then it let me in. This other credential you'll see here is this is actually to where this is more for installers. This would not be for your end customer that would be using the credentials, but for here, where's my button? There we are. This is where you can actually, this is a control card to where you can program the read distance on our Bluetooth readers. So you can have it to where it's extremely short all the way up to the max, which is about 15 feet from the reader. That way, if you have a couple of doors that are right within 5 feet of each other, well, you're going to want to reduce that a little bit so you're not accidentally opening one door and not the other. Another great feature with this is, let's say you don't want to pull this out of your pocket every time. Well, there's a couple different options we have here. You can set your unlock time for one. You can set it from 10 seconds to 5 minutes. So let's say you're going to be carrying stuff in with from your car. You can set it for 5 minutes and then go ahead and trigger it while you're in the car. Set it in your pocket, pick up the things, approach the door, it opens, everything's all well and good. But let's say even that's too much. Well, you can actually go to the touchless activation, and whenever you trigger that, oh, I gotta change some settings on my iPhone there. But whenever you activate that, from that point, for the next 12 hours, your credential will be broadcasted from your phone. As long as your app is still running in the background, as long as you don't force close it, it'll still be running in the background. And so that whenever you approach any Bluetooth door in the next 12 hours, it's going to automatically present those credentials for you. Very cool stuff. Now let me get switched back over to my main screen here.
All right. Now back on our main screen. Now let's say as an integrator or even your end customer may want to be able to access this, not just from their phone, but they want to access it from their computer, from home, or just from another site. That's not a problem. That's what our remote management connection service is here for. So that RMC, again, similar to the link because they do use similar services. You can copy this device ID right here, and then to add it to your RMC account, you actually go to access.specotech.com. I was just recently logged in, and it quickly logs me out, of course. So to log back into the RMC, now the RMC account itself is no cost. The only cost for this service, cloud management essentially, would be a one-time fee per site. So there's no recurring cost to this. So right here, you can see this is the Johnson City demo. This is the one that we've been using here. You can get the MAC address. You can see if it's currently online, what the local IP address is using, whether or not you're using the secure connection or not, HTTP or HTTPS. And let's see here, I'll actually access another panel here that's not on site. This is more of a live working demo at a construction company. The size of this here for you. You can see that a little better. So that's their setup here. They just got a basic stick figure floor format, which is no problem at all. Gives clear and concise visibility to where the doors are. You see somebody just got into the elevator right there because that lock symbol is down. Also, one thing I didn't showcase for you before, but of course you can manually open and log it open and lock off from your action taskbar right here. But let's say you have 100 something doors and you don't want to scroll through all of these. Well, that's what this map is here for. Let's say this back entrance, you want to open that real quick. You click back entrance, manually unlock or momentary unlock, and then there you go. It unlocks for that momentary time. And this is not on site. You see that we're on a completely different external IP and port, and those will constantly change. But from here, you see I can do everything as though I was there local. Let me go ahead and show you access reports here because they have a lot more people coming and going on that site. So it'll look a little bit, has more data to showcase for you. So when you search right off, and you see how quick that search is. So there's everybody that's coming in and out today, which card they use, what floor, all very quick and concise. And you can quickly print that out, push it to a CSV, Loads of options here. Continuing on the reports, we have all sorts of reports with our system here. So right here, this shows you they have they have the basic license here for this control panel, so they can only have up to 5,000 users, but that can go up to 15,000 if needed. You can see how many cards and where they're at on that, how many card formats they have. They actually have quite a few, because when this got taken over, every time they ordered cards, they ordered a different site code. And so they had like 15 different site code cards to bring all in. Not a problem. We can have up to 100 without an issue. But this will showcase, of course, everything, all your system reports here, your SD card, which they all come with built-in SD cards for automatic backups. And that's another thing to talk about there, is that these will automatically back up. Just showcase that here for you. So you have a scheduled backup to go right onto the SD card, or if you have a USB plugged in, it can do that as well. Or if you want even more, you can even have that scheduled to back up to an FTP regularly. So that can be on-site or off-site to an Amazon cloud storage if you want. It can be highly secure there for you. That way, something happens, you can replace this and get it back up and running without an issue. I'd say that's probably, I want to leave plenty of time for questions here. Let me pull up here and see if we have any. I got one question here as far as does it only work in Internet Explorer mode? As of right now, yes, but we do have an update coming out with our new platform update that's going to get past that minor issue there. But currently, yes, for the video portion to work as far as the video pop-up. Now, otherwise, you can use Chrome or whatever else for everything else. But as far as that video integration and actually able to see that video pop up, currently it does need to be in Internet Explorer mode. See what's here. All right, can web access be secured? Yes, I currently have it on just HTTP, but you can have it set up for HTTPS. Let's see here. Change this over here, and I can show that to you. Oh, I got stopped broadcasting. Let me share my screen again. Oh, there we go. Yes, within your settings here and under what is it, IP address, yes, you can choose to run it HTTP and also choose HTTPS, that is, for the secure, and what port you want to use for your HTTPS port. So yes, you can run it secure there. Let's see here. Any plans for a multi-tenant intercom edition? Yes, absolutely. That is on the agenda. We don't have it lined up just yet, but that is on the agenda and shouldn't be too much longer before we are able to introduce a multi-tenant intercom solution that will work along with our door access. Let's see here. As far as developing a control 4 driver for centralized control, We've not looked into that just yet, honestly, but I'll actually mark that down here and we will look into that because I know Control 4. I'd run into it a long time ago, but it does seem like it's gaining a little bit of speeds as far as being an all-in-one go-to. But yeah, we'll look into that for sure. And then let's see here, is remote access by port forwarding or what do you no, you actually don't need for the vast majority of router setups, you don't have to do any type of a port forwarding. But if it does require you to, what is the RMC link? Let's see. I think 9,000, I think is the only thing that you would put, but normally you don't even have to do that. It'll work on the vast majority of routers and things that I've seen. That's not been an issue. So the vast majority of the time, no, you don't have to port forward really at all because we use our P2P. So as long as you get on the internet, it's normally able to connect right away without any type of port forwarding. Those, let me see what else we've got here. Got those. Let's see what it's here. Does the access control system require an additional server locally for the phone app to work? Nope, no, it doesn't. It actually works right off of this link. Actually, right here is the mobile link as far as your mobile app. So as long as that's on when you're remoting into it, it's technically going through our P2P to get this connection. That's why you don't need the port forwarding. But this is all you'll need right here, or to scan this QR code right from the mobile app, and it'll register your device on the Speco Access app. That'll get you connected. Let's see here. All righty. And while I'm waiting for a few more answers, I'll go ahead and, or questions rather, I'll go ahead and point us back over to the old SpecoTech.com for these webinars and previously recorded webinars. You can actually come right here to our Learning Center. You actually go right down here to our view our previously recorded webinars. And right there, you just key in your information. And there's our national trainer there, Daniel Sahalski. And he's done the vast majority of these. And this is where not just access webinars, but all of our camera, speaker, all of our different webinars, our digital deterrent cameras, license plate recognition, using advanced analytics, using our dashboard to learn how to leverage some RMR opportunities. That's a great one right there. If you've not checked that one out yet, definitely check that one out. Our dashboard's growing and growing. That's it. But we have all sorts of webinars on here that you guys can check out for free. You just dive right into it. Let's see here. And I'll hang out for a couple more minutes in case any of you have any other questions. But for now, I'll just go ahead and say, hope everybody has a good weekend. Thank you for joining, and you guys stay safe out there.